It's always the same story, isn't it? No matter how many fibers we put into the ground, at some point we run out of fiber links, and that normally happens sooner than we anticipate. So basically the only possibility is to deploy new fiber. Or is it? If you want to find out more, stick around and we'll check it out. Deploying additional fiber most definitely is a viable option, but there are also some considerable downsides. You probably will have to dig trenches. Those trenches will need building permits. It costs a lot of money and it will take a very long time until you have those desperately needed additional fiber links up and running. So what is the alternative? I want to talk about one specific alternative because it is a very flexible, very cost-effective and fast to deploy solution. You might have guessed it, I'm talking about WDM. Now, to understand the benefits of WDM, let's first have a look at a very simplistic multi-link setup once using no WDM, and then what it would look like when we add WDM to it. Let me explain over here. What we're looking at here is a setup with 4 links, and that means we've got 4 transceivers on either side of the link, and they are then connected to each other with a pair of fiber. Now, if we change this setup to a WDM setup, what we need to do is we need to replace those transceivers with WDM-capable transceivers, and on either side of the link, we add the passive optical multiplexer. And what then happens is that all those 4 signals are then actually combined onto a single pair of fiber. And that means we're freeing up 3 out of those 4 fiber pairs. And the nice thing about WDM is that it is a layer 1 technology, meaning that we are maintaining pretty much all the advantages of layer 1. So in other words, it's as if we were still using individual fiber pairs for each individual signal. For example, let's start off with the data rate. WDM is completely data rate agnostic. It doesn't care if you're combining a 1 gig, 10 gig, 25 gig, or even a 100 gig signal. It does not matter. And the same thing applies to the protocol. WDM doesn't care if it's Ethernet or CPRI or eCPRI. It really does not matter at all. Also, WDM hasn't got any processing. It does not add any processing. So in other words, it does not add any latency to the link either. And I mentioned beforehand, it is extremely fast to deploy because basically you're just adding the multiplexers on either side of the link, replace the transceivers, connect the transceivers to the multiplexer, and that's it. No additional configuration, a true plug-and-play solution. And if we're comparing it to deploying additional fiber or any other active solution to increase the capacity, the investment cost of WDM is extremely low. Now you might say, well, the transceivers, the WDM transceivers, they require more power. Yes, that is true, but the increase of power requirements for the WDM transceivers compared to the normal transceivers is extremely low if we're comparing it to any other active solution to increase the capacity. And last but not least, if we're talking about 100 gigahertz DWDM, we are achieving a 48-fold capacity increase, meaning instead of just one signal going over a pair of fiber, we can actually have 48 signals going over a pair of fiber. And that's not even going into the whole direction of 50 gigahertz DWDM, because in that case, we can even go up to 96 signals going over a single pair of fiber. Of course, deploying additional fiber as well as active solutions are also viable options. I'm not saying that WDM is the only solution, but if you're looking for something that is flexible, very cost-effective and fast to deploy, well, in that case, WDM might be the solution that you're looking for. It's definitely worth checking it out. So, I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something today. If so, please leave a comment. And of course, remember to follow our channel so that you get your regular dose of brain snack. Until next time, bye-bye.